begin our chronological timeline with our most ancient unit, the Greek phalanx.
Yeah, they are. They're holding them central. So that you can get it from like later to get time. I think it keeps them tight stuff.
The Greek phalanx portrays hoplites, or citizen soldiers of the Greek city-states in the 5th century BCE. These Greek warriors were largely drawn from the middling and wealthy classes and purchased their own armor and weapons. Standing shield to shield in phalanx formation, these warriors fought for the security of their city-states. Keep them big hands. In the year 60, what is now southern Britain, the ascending Queen Boudica led an army of some 200 10,000 soldiers in revolt against the Roman Empire. The 10,000-man 14th Legion of Rome employed superior discipline and tactics, successfully destroyed the Iceni army, losing only 400 of their own in the battle. They earned an honorable mention in the cold steel category. Let's hear a round of applause for them. Now it is the year 804, and Skara Karoli and the Northern Wanderers have been engaged in border conflict between France and the Danes. Emissaries from both kingdoms have met near the border to broker a peace. Congratulations to Skara Karoli, who placed first in the cold steel division. The Austin Viking encamped in the year 984 at the time of the Battle of Frias. It is the culmination of the war between Eric the Victorious, King Gustav, and the young Vikings. These Viking traders, raiders, and settlers are engaged in daily activities like grain milling, weapons practice, or producing tents, sails, other fabrics, cords, nets, and wooden items. Not on sale at the gift shop. Go rate it yourself. The Company of Little Dunmo. It is spring, 1217, in Essex, England, during the First Barons' War. King John is dead, but the war rages on. The Company of Little Dunmo follows Baron Robert Fitzwalter towards the town of Lincoln to join the army there, putting an end to the siege. And hopefully a final defeat to the Royalists. Give them a hand for placing second in the cold steel division. La Belle Compagnie. It is 1415, and Sir Geoffrey is mustering his troops outside Southampton to take ship for France. Local merchants have come to do business with the soldiers and men-at-arms, and Lady Joan and her retinue are along to purchase some of the household needs, as well as buying some luxuries and enjoy the diversions of the town. Congratulations are in order for this group for placing third in the cold steel division. It is the year 1529, and thus Teufelsdrucken Fanla, the Devil's Nightmare Regiment, is slowly marching home from 8 years of war in Italy, when they receive word that Suleiman the Magnificent, Emperor of the Ottoman Empire, threatens Austria and its capital city of Vienna. The slow march turns into a race over the Alps to defend Vienna. Congratulations to this unit for winning the People's Choice Award. Cavaliers and Roundheads. In 1642, the English Civil War has just broken out between the Royalist Cavaliers and the Parliamentarian Roundheads. Here we see Sir Denzel Hollis's regiment, with new recruits being trained to use muskets and pikes, and undergoing political indoctrination about the rights that the parliamentarians are fighting for. during Queen Anne's War, just after the Great Storm of 1703. The crew of Retribution is in London for repair of their ship. England has been devastated by the week-long cyclone, and the surviving crew is recruiting new members in a makeshift tavern and a hastily erected shantytown amongst the wreckage of the storm. Congratulations to the crew for placing third in the Black Powder Division. In 1746, the Athen Regiment is encamped north of Fort William in Scotland after successfully capturing Fort Augustus earlier in the month. The regiment is using their time in camp to rest, prepare equipment, and train with weapons before they rejoin Bonnie Prince Charlie's Jacobite army at Inverness. Seek out the main British force. Folks, dedication and hydration. In 1798, after the brutal defeat of the Irish Rebellion, a band of survivors carried on the fight from the forests of Cullochran, becoming known as the Babes in the Woods. Carrying out raids and ambushes, the group was a persistent thorn in the side of the British until 1803. During the Peninsular War, and the Troisième de Ligne Regiment and the Troisième Hussar Regiment of Napoleon's Grand Armée are engaged in a war with Spain and their allies, the English. Their task is to protect convoys of supplies coming from France into Spain.
Vive l'empereur!
Vive l'empereur! Vive l'empereur! On the United States, the American forces of Hampton Roads, War of 1812, representing the 2nd Regiment of the Virginia Militia, and sailors from the USS Constellation in Norfolk Harbor. Sailors and militia fought together against the British at the Battle of Cranny Island, June 22nd, 1813, and successfully prevented the capture of Norfolk and Portsmouth. British Army's 95th Rifles, 1st Battalion, Wellington's Army, was famous for being the only British regiment at the time armed with rifles, not muskets. Here they were portrayed in their winter quarters in late 1814 during the Napoleonic War. They went on to take part in the Battle of New Orleans against Andrew Jackson in January 1815, and they were also at the Battle of Waterloo against Napoleon in June 1815. There it is, in the year. Napoleonic Wars in Europe, the number 3 company of the 42nd Royal Rifle Regiment has just arrived in Paris after the Battle of Fontenoy and Waterloo. There it is, Napoleon, June 1815. Civil War era is represented by several units, beginning with the 3rd United States Regular Infantry, Company K. The spring of 1861 was a time of great unrest and uncertainty. Texas, where the Company K is stationed, has seceded. Several companies have managed to leave the state and are making their way to Washington. Let's give them a round of applause for placing second in the Black Powder Division. The Norfolk Light Artillery Blues, dating back to 1828, are predecessors to our current 111th Field Artillery. In June of 1862, they were a Confederate unit transitioning from coastal artillery back to field artillery. Heavy training is required to get used to handling field cannons, as opposed to the coastal cannons they have been using for the better part of the last year. Ultimately, they'll join the Army of Northern Virginia in November, just in time for the Battle of Fredericksburg.
Hey!
1863 and 1864, the Second Corps Field Hospital is providing every aspect of medical care. The surgeons are accompanied and supported by monitors, cooks, chaplains, the Ladies' Aid Society, and an ambulance corps. Both congratulations to the Field Hospital for placing first in the Black Powder Division. Civil War Impressionist Association is portraying the headquarters of Lieutenant General Ulysses S. Grant at City Point, Virginia in 1864. This command center is overseeing operations as the Army of the Potomac is entrenched opposite the Confederate Army of Northern Virginia near Richmond and Petersburg. Horse Cavalry Association is depicting the famous Buffalo Soldiers, formed in 1866. These distinguished soldiers went on to serve across the Great Plains and in the Southwest, earning 13 Medals of Honor in the Indian Wars and participating in other military and non-traditional military assignments that contributed to westward expansion and protection of public lands. The British 24th Regiment of Foot is preparing for the invasion of Zululand during the Anglo-Zulu War of 1879. They were valiant defenders of Rorke's Drift, an outpost and river crossing for the British Army. As we move into the 20th century and into World War I, please welcome the British Expeditionary Force as they arrived in France in August 1914 before going to the front. The soldiers are meeting the local population and preparing for combat in Belgium and France. Now, we meet the Imperial Russian 39th Thomas Infantry Regiment, arrayed in their dress uniforms.
That's it. Hurrah! Hurrah!
They served on the Eastern Front of the Great War, a regiment. They served on the Eastern Front of the Great War, the regiment and the army which ceased to exist in 1918 as Russia collapsed into a 4-year-long civil war. We're good? We're good. We're back, folks. The Old Dominion Squadron of the Airmen's Preservation Society is representing the 32nd Aero Squadron at the 3rd Aviation Instructional Center at Issoudun, France, in early 1918. Issoudun was the primary flight training center for the U.S. Air Service in France, and at the time, it was the largest air complex in the world. Among its earliest occupants were 6 graduates of the Curtis Aviation School right here on Virginia's Peninsula. Let's hear from the squadron who placed 3rd in the modern division. It is November 1936, in the midst of the Spanish Civil War. With the situation in Madrid desperate, the exiled anti-fascist German volunteers, the Edgar Andre Battalion, rushed into action at University City. Their heroic fighting at the cost of over half their number saved Madrid from the clutches of Franco and the Nationalists. This unit was chosen by their fellow reenactors for the Reenactors' Choice Award. Give the man. Now, we turn our attention to the Second World War. We were in Europe in 1940. The French 92nd Infantry Regiment had been sent into Belgium together with British units to fortify the line in Belgium against the German advance. They were eventually pushed back to the area around Lille, forming part of the rear guard defending Dunkirk, allowing British and French forces to evacuate to the UK. The unit was later decimated at Lille, France. It is 1941. The newly formed 5th Light Division Africa Corps is in Libya during Operation Sunflower, just beginning the advance on Benghazi. Bold action from German General Irvin Rommel, coupled with an under-equipped British armored brigade, many worn-out vehicles, contributed to early German successes in North Africa. December 1941, Pearl Harbor has just been attacked, and the United States enters the war. U-boats are attacking our east coast, shipping, and something must be done immediately.
Ice!
B Battery, 244th Coastal Artillery, Chesapeake Bay Defense Sector, is sent to Fort Macon, North Carolina, to protect the Beaufort Inland Shipping Lane. Along with several hundred New York National Guard artillery troops, the 244th is manning defensive guns and patrolling for saboteurs and ship-sinking survival. Here we meet the 325th Light Infantry Regiment in the spring of 1944 as they prepare for the invasion of Normandy. Gliders were fundamental aspects to airborne operations with the intent of safely landing platoon-sized elements to quickly and efficiently get troops on the ground in dangerous conditions. Roads wartime women are representing the Hampton Roads Port of Embarkation's first wax company, 19th February 1944, which Newport News' mayor, Raquel Taylor, dedicated as Wax Day in order to acquaint the public with the work to aid the war effort. from 7 companies participated in the celebration, which was called the greatest single demonstration of the organization ever witnessed by the public. Congratulations to this unit for placing first in the modern division. In March 1944, at Legio Camp near Dublin, Scotland, we find that the Polish 10th Dragoon Motor Battalion has been redesignated as the 10th Dragoon Regiment, 1st Polish Armored Division. They will deploy onto the Normandy coast in August of that year with the British. The Legio unit has seen action since the Polish campaign, September 1939. Moving ahead to September of 1944, the British 1st Airborne Division is preparing for their part in Operation Market Garden in the Netherlands. Their mission is to secure key bridges and towns to create Allied invasions into German territory over the Rhine. This is the largest airborne operation in history, involving nearly 35,000 Allied troops. Let's hear it for our 2nd place unit in the modern division. The 51st Engineer Combat Battalion proved critical to success in the Battle of the Bulge. In December 1944, they were busy with road maintenance and running sawmills in Belgium. But as German forces breached Allied lines in the Ardennes, the 51st quickly responded by defending river crossings, destroying bridges, and blocking roads, successfully holding a 25-mile line against the advancing Germans and earning a unit citation for their heroism. In England, we meet the 1st Canadian Parachute Battalion Headquarters Company on R&R. Having returned from the continent in September 1944 after the D-Day drop, the unit will return to the front in December to participate in the Battle of the Bulge. Replacement depot, portraying a 29th Infantry Division rear echelon field station in 1945. The unit also carries out routine activities such as inspection, morning reports, and the basic duties of the average GI. Entering the Vietnam era on patrol up the path, we find the MacV Recondo School, run by the 5th Special Forces Group, located in Nha Trang in the Republic of Vietnam, 1968. This long-range reconnaissance training school trained troops from every free world nation fighting in Vietnam. Graduates conducted controls and sensitive missions deep in denied enemy territory. October 1983, the 505th Parachute Infantry Regiment of the 82nd Airborne Division was one of the first units to arrive on the island of Grenada at the start of Operation Urgent Fury. Along with the 75th Ranger Regiment, the 505th Infantry Regiment secured the airport, allowing the 82nd to bring in troops and supplies from the U.S. Helicopters evacuated hundreds of U.S. citizens from St. George's University. After the Grenadian government was stabilized, the 82nd returned to the U.S. these military units from across the ages and around the world. And with the deepest respect, we salute the honorable men and women who have served and who continue to serve in our Commonwealth and our country into the present day. The success of military through the ages rests with all our volunteers behind the scenes. You volunteers, raise your hands in D.C. So in the back right there. And with our dedicated volunteer reenactors all back out in the field. We also like to thank and acknowledge the staff of the Jamestown Yorktown Foundation for both Jamestown Settlement and the American Revolution Museum at Yorktown for all their efforts in organizing this event. We're all over the place, just look for that. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the Jamestown Settlement's Military Through the Ages 2026. Thank you all.
What I'm up to right now.
I'm good, Homer. It was just the sweat which just prayed me.
Good job, Chess.
Some of your canola. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Great.
I got sweat in his eyes. You can't see a thing.
Yeah, man, I was like, oh.
Great, thank you.
No, I just knew you probably needed some water. I could see you wiping the sweat and everything, so. Elegant.
That's all right. No problem. All right. Take care.
Whew.